What's going on, everybody? So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the cost of my current home gym. I'm also going to go through the stuff that I had sold, share with you guys some future purchases I would like to make, and some things I might have done differently, or things I wish I had known before I had purchased some of the things I had purchased. So the very first thing I got was the Dick's Sporting Goods 300-pound Olympic weightlifting set. I got this while I was in high school, right before I got into high school, I believe. I was about to play football, and I wanted to have a weight set to start working out, getting into shape, start, buffing up a little bit, because I was really small at that time. It was my first actual purchase to actually get this gym started, and it was something that I didn't really do too much research in. I just found something that was cheap, it did the job. The weights, they're just standard iron plates. I mean, they weren't anything crazy, but it did what it had to do. So I paid about 250 bucks for that. It was not too bad. Like I said, it was 300 pounds for 250 bucks. That's probably the best you're gonna get, especially for a weight set like that, as cheap as it was. I came with a 45-pound bar. I think it was a 7 foot, 45-pound bar, pair of 45s, pair of 35s, pair of 25s, pair of 10s, 2 pairs of 5s, and then a pair of 2.5. So it was pretty good. Next thing I got was the Troy VTX bumper plates. Originally I got them because I remember thinking that if I were to do anything that would essentially entail that I might fail and it would hit the ground, that I didn't want to break the tile floors that I have underneath. My parents would probably kill me if I broke them. Not only that, you could damage the iron weights as well, but let's be real, it was more so about the floors. I got a pair of 45 and 25 because I didn't think I would need anything else besides that, and I don't really think I still need anything else besides that, because even right now, 35s to me are not really the most useful. That's just my opinion. Pairs of 10s, I mean, they weren't really anything that I needed at the time, especially for the size that they were. I didn't really think that I would need anything of that size for that light of a weight when I could just throw on a pair of 10-pound iron plates. It was about 5-6 years ago when I had bought them, but I think it was around $300 for that, for the 2 pairs that I have right now. Fast forward to college, I got the Fuel Performance 6-foot power cage, and I got that from Walmart. Just a little backstory for you guys now. When I was still in high school, I actually ended up getting a gym membership to go to Retro Fitness for 20 bucks a month. My friends and I, we thought it'd be a good idea to go to a gym where we have more equipment, things that we could do that we might not be able to do here with just a barbell and the weights that are associated with it.
Oh, you nasty. Oh, Jesus.
So we ended up going to a gym that facilitated more of those things, and I ended up kind of leaving these weights here to just rot. But what happened was, during our senior year in college, which is this year, everyone knows about the coronavirus. So what happened was they told us to go home, and this was right before the lockdown. So our school told us to go home for safety reasons. They didn't want us to stay on campus because they didn't want things to spread, obviously. So during that time, there was a little bit of a period where I wasn't able to use the gym that was at my school, and I didn't have a retro gym membership. So I decided to buy a power rack. So again, this was right before the lockdown, before anyone really had an idea that it was even going to happen. With that said, I got really lucky that I was able to purchase a power rack for that price. Yeah, so it was 175 bucks. And another story behind that too, I went to pick it up, and a few days later, they told me that I still haven't picked it up yet. They kept sending me more and more emails, and eventually they said that they were going to refund me. So a rack that cost about 175 bucks, I never actually really paid for. So right now, since technically the rack I got was free, my running total is still at 550 bucks. Next up, I have the Amazon Basics flat bench. Standard flat bench, there's not really much to say about it. It's cheap, 50 bucks. The next thing I ended up doing was getting up a DIY pulley system. For a single pulley, it would probably cost you around 30 bucks. With the double pulley, the extra few things I had got, it was around $40. So it's not too bad. Every single thing I got from there was from Home Depot, so everything worked out pretty well when I had ended up using it. I actually don't really use it as much as I really would hope. As you guys might see in some of the videos, the chains that are holding up the whole pulley system, I kind of just push it to the back and they don't really get any use anymore. I kind of wish that I had actually thought about if I'm actually going to use it more and really figured out like what my workout regimen was going to be before I actually bought that, and ended up just kind of pushing it to the side and not using it. That being said, I also bought a tricep extension from Amazon. It's a Yes for All tricep pull down attachment. It was 17 bucks. It's a standard tricep pull down extension. You see that at every gym that you go to. I mean, there's no real complaints with it. Again, I've also never really used it that much to know if it's really gonna withstand time. But from the few uses that I've had, it seems to hold up pretty well. There's nothing to really complain about it. It does what it does. The next thing I ended up getting was a pair of J hooks from Amazon, because the current J hooks that I had that came with the rack, there's no real, well, honestly, it's just a piece of metal. So it doesn't really, there's no real protection from putting the bar onto it or anything like that. There's not really any barrier from it hitting the rack once you rack it onto the cage. So I ended up getting these J hooks from Amazon, A to Z Care 2x2 J hooks. They were 50 bucks. It's not the best thing in the world, but it does what it has to do, and it's a lot better than what I had originally. I also bought a cap barbell weight tree. So before that, I actually ended up just leaving the weights just sitting on the floor in the corner. They have 1-inch holes, so when I'm sliding the weights in, it's not difficult, obviously, but I mean, the one issue that I have with it is the top part that it's resting on actually ends up kind of grinding against it. So not only is the weight tree kind of getting all messed up, but so are the weights on the inside just a little bit. Not that it's really that big of a deal, they're just iron weights. So it's not like the end of the world. I mean, they're iron weights, like who the hell cares if it gets scuffed up? It's gonna get scuffed up over time no matter what. That's just something that kind of bothered me a little bit when I got it, that I didn't really realize the size of the hole and what when I put it in, that it'd be so much of a big gap in between them. Just a little tip, if you guys are anal about that type of stuff, to do a little bit more research than I did. I ended up just getting basically everything that I have in here when they had it available because of the pandemic that we're in, and since it's so hard to get exercise equipment during this time. I also got this Champion 30-inch Pro Style lat pull down bar. It's 35 bucks from Walmart. I used it once. But the one time I used it, it was good. So now my current running total is at $785. The next thing I ended up buying, which was probably one of the biggest purchases that I've made, was getting the iron weight plates that I have right now. So another story with this, I ended up buying York Legacy plates through Bigger, Faster, Stronger. They were literally only gonna run about 405 bucks. That was probably the best deal you can get on weights at that price, with, especially, you know, with what's going on right now. Fast forward to about, I believe, May, and they actually ended up canceling the order and refunding me because York wasn't able to keep up with all the orders. Because of that, I ended up getting Rogue Olympic plates. Yeah, I got 4 pairs of 45s, a pair of 25s, 2 pairs of 10s, a pair of 5s, and a pair of 2.5s. It was $801. Shipping was about $120. So now my running total is around $1,706. I ended up getting the Bells of Steel Bare Naked Power Bar. 200 bucks. For that price, you literally could not beat that. Everything else for power bars in that price range is a little bit higher. I think even Rogue, I'm not too certain, but it's closer to 250. So saving that extra 50 bucks plus not having to worry about shipping also cut out a lot of worry with that as well. So if you live in an area where a barbell gets corroded very easily and don't really want to have to worry about the upkeep, then this may not be the bar for you. But for me, I don't think I live in an area where the bar gets corroded. I've had this for a few months and I haven't really even noticed any of that. And honestly, to me, like, since there's no coating on the knurling, my hands really are able to grab onto the knurling and it really digs in there. And to me, I don't really have a problem with that. So for me, have had no issue with it. And if there's any upkeep with it, to me, it's not really that big of a deal. It's definitely not a deal breaker for me. So I ended up going to Tractor Supply Co. to get 4 foot by 6 foot, 3/4 inch horse stall mats. So I got 4 of them. Originally I was gonna get 2, and then as we were laying this stuff down, my dad was helping me out and he suggested that I get 2 more because having just the 2 looked like too small of an area, and I think he was right. So I ended up getting 4 of them, laying it around in this corner over here, and it ended up working pretty well for me. Oh, and just to go back a little bit, originally I had gotten these tile floors. Well, my parents got these tile floors when I had the original barbell set and the bumper plates that I have now. When I just had that and that alone, my parents bought me the flooring. The one thing I really had an issue with was that these floors, they have like a little carpet coating on top of it. So the Tractor Supply Co. mats, you know, it's just standard rubber floors. There's no real like slipping, sliding or anything like that. So when it came to these, when it came to me actually starting doing the big lifts, the mats would slip around a little bit and they would kind of push out of place and not really lock in together as well as I would have liked. So now I have a few things that I had purchased, but they're actually not here yet, but they're basically going to be coming in within the next few days, if not the next few weeks. The first thing I have is a Titan Fitness weight tree. So with the weight tree I have now, I'm a little bit of a stickler for how it goes in right now and how it kind of rests on top of the 1-inch hole as opposed to just having a snug fit. I ended up purchasing that. I'm still waiting for it right now. When I got it, it was actually on back order, and I'm expecting it to come in by the end of the month, hopefully, if I'm lucky. It has wheels on the bottom. It has six pegs, right? I think that's what you call them. From what I've seen and from other options, it's cheaper and it'll do the job, so I can't really complain about that. A lot of things that I've noticed is that Titan offers a lot of the same equipment that Rogue does, but for a lot cheaper. So if you're looking for equipment but don't want to spring as much money for it, Titan's actually a pretty good option. The customer service is not as bad as people may think. So I'll get to this another story right now. I also purchased the 3/4 inch 6-foot chain. So when I actually got them, a few days ago, or I got the box a few days ago. So the box was actually empty. The contents were not in it. It was packed in 2 boxes, the one from Titan itself and I think one from FedEx that shipped it to me. The outermost box was kind of beat up, it was weather damaged, and one side was basically torn apart from the weather. So that's something I can't exactly blame for them. But the inner box, the Titan box, was actually ripped up. Like it looked like it was intentionally torn apart. And I think someone actually took the chains. That's just my assumption, I don't really know. But nonetheless, I got a package that didn't have the contents in there, so I was a little bit upset. But like I said, getting back to customer service with Titan, they're actually not as bad as I thought that they would be, because a lot of people talk down upon their customer service. But for me anyways, when I contacted them the few times that I did, they were pretty accommodating. They just said they're very sorry and they'll send out another one for free. Now hopefully it'll come in within the next week or two, because technically those are now on back order since I had ordered them, but hopefully they come in soon. I also bought Lu Xiaozun's E1 training bar. Honestly, I have no idea what his name is, but this is him. He's Chinese Olympic weightlifter, pretty well known in the fitness world, pretty well known in the weightlifting world. So his training bar that I bought is not exactly a training bar, it's more of a weightlifting bar. So I have a power bar, and since I got that, I started doing weightlifting with that because I don't really have another barbell to use. So I've been using that, and plus the weight that I'm using right now, the whip of an Olympic barbell doesn't really matter as much since the weight is so low. I haven't really done anything more than a plate on anything for Olympic movements, and even a plate is kind of pushing it. But that bar is 215 bucks. I'm waiting to get that, and from what I've heard, they have very good reviews, and it's really cheap for an Olympic barbell too. The ones I've seen from Rogue are around $400, $500, and I'm not willing to spring that much money for an Olympic barbell. With all the stuff that I purchased and is coming in now, and all the things I currently have, my running total is at $2,531. And just another thing too, the Olympic weightlifting set that I originally got 5-6 years ago, I don't currently have. So I sold the 45s, the 25s, the 10s, the 5s, and the 2.5s for about 200 bucks to a guy on Facebook Marketplace in a neighboring town. I also lent the barbell and a pair of 35s to my friend who you've seen in previous videos and stuff like that. This was also, again, during the pandemic, so obviously it's very easy to sell, but at the same time there are other people who need it as well, so he was able to work with the barbell and the 35s. He also had other ways that he could use as well to kind of accommodate himself and make sure that he was able to do what he was able to do. So since I had sold that, and again with all the stuff I have and all things coming, my actual total for everything that I have currently right now is $2,331. There's also a few other things that I didn't mention, just another few knickknacks that I have here and there. When I first actually started getting into weightlifting, I started with an old school barbell set, the ones that have the screw on, they have screw on the end, and you know, had a standard, not a standard barbell, but a bar you can put weights on, and then some dumbbell handles, and they have 1-inch holes on the end where you put on iron plates that were 1 inch thick, or 1 inch in diameter. There were 2 pairs of 20 pounds, there were 2 pairs of 10s, I think 2 pairs of 5s and 2 pairs of 2.5s. So that's what it came with. That's what my dad ended up using, and he had lent it to me when I wanted to start leaning out and starting to work out. I also got these braided vinyl tubing from Home Depot. I also don't want to damage the barbell when I rest it on there, or if I were to fall or had to bail. So I ended up getting braided vinyl. Another thing I wish I had noted, I didn't really know the size of the safeties, so I ended up getting 2-inch diameters for the braided vinyl. So it's a lot bigger than it really has to be. But it does a job, it does what it has to do. It protects the bar if I were to drop it on the safeties. So then I also have a foam roller. I got that from I think Marshalls or something. There's also this resistance band that I got. I don't remember ever purchasing this, I swear to God. It literally came in the mail maybe a few weeks ago. I don't know where it came from. There's no real, it said it came from New York, but I don't really know, you know, the company it came from. It just says it came from Jamaica, New York or something like that. I also got these pair of collars through Amazon from Valor Fitness for about 20 something bucks. These are collars were meant to hold the chains when I eventually were to get them, but I still never got them yet. I also have a whiteboard that I write down my workouts on and have a breakdown of all the things that I do for each day. I had that from when I was in college when I wrote down my homework to make sure I do all my shit. And then I also have a mirror just to be vain, to look at myself. Yeah. Other than that, that's basically really it. My actual running total with what I have here right now, the things that's coming in a little bit, and the weights I just sold, my actual total for this home gym is $2,331. And that's basically it. So you guys now have a little bit of an idea of what I did to get all this stuff. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys could like, subscribe, and then follow me at FitGma on Instagram for more regular daily content. Peace!